Published in 1993, Susanna Kayson's Girl Interrupted is perhaps one of the bleakest memoirs I've ever encountered. Welcome to Check That Book, a special place on the internet where you and I get acquainted with arguably the most disturbing pieces of literature ever written. Not just literature, I'm not sure how to make these introductions anymore because we've expanded. We are doing disturbing cinema, book versus movie, right? The adaptations. We're doing disturbing fairy tale origins, and we're reciting poetry, so yeah. But it's not just the disturbing all the time. It doesn't have to be. But today it kind of is. We're going to take a look at Girl Interrupted. Many people actually don't realize that the film, a well-known one, is based on a book that is based on a real story. The story recounts Kayson's, with the pronunciations, especially when it comes to British English versus American English and so many other variants of English all over the world. I get confused, and I apologize for how I choose to pronounce things. So yeah, I digress. Let's get this out of the way now. This one recounts Kayson's own experiences as a young woman hospitalized for mental health issues, and the time set is 1960s. And if you know me, you know how much I enjoy, well, I'm invested in everything that has to do with psychiatric treatment, institutionalization, everything that has to do with this particular theme is always of interest to me. Now, in the 1960s and earlier, obviously the systems, let's be honest, were far from perfect all over the world. And I'm not exaggerating. This particular institution was in Massachusetts, USA, and our main characters, also the authors, apparently interactions with other patients and, well, in overall her time there. Now, the memoir is structured as these series of episodes and reflections, which is basically it's kind of like reading a diary, which this is the kind of style that I also very much enjoy and encourage you to actually read, because this one is so introspective and at the same time, whilst being descriptive, it's disturbing, again, on this pun intended psychological level. Well, so without spoiling too much, our protagonist is diagnosed with borderline personality disorder at the age of 18, how appropriate, after a self-cancelling attempt. After an attempt of self-cancellation, right? She was trying to press the delete button on herself. How else can I say it nicely? I mean, I'm one of those people, and I'm digressing right now, but I need to get this out of the way too, because it's such a big deal and it's so annoying that I cannot name things the way they are on YouTube, because otherwise your video, sure, monetization is not yet a thing for me, otherwise you can get cancelled, but the video can get flagged, and I don't want that. I mean, why? What is it? YouTube is apparently okay with blood, guts, and gore if I show it, but it's not okay when I say the word self-cancellation that starts with S, you know, the word, what the fuck, right? Okay, YouTube is apparently okay with me cussing from time to time and drinking strong liquids from time to time. How does it know that it's strong? Maybe it was water. Nonetheless, YouTube is okay with so many things, but somehow it's not okay with some normal words that mean disturbing things, but they're just words. Including the word assault that starts with R, you know what I mean? I used to use this word a lot on my channel, but for some reason I got some flags. And apparently for that word alone, and wow, okay, I'll try my best, but no promises. Because these are just words and they should not be offensive. People complicate things too much for themselves because it's actually ridiculous. There are some words out there that are generally not considered offensive or disturbing, but to some individuals, they might be. I don't know, I'm offended if you say potato. Fuck you for saying potato. I'm offended now. You cannot use the word potato anymore. What you gonna do? I digressed. Back to the story. Our protagonist, who is called Susanna, she is sent to this institution and she spends 18 months observing and participating in institutional life, basically. And that's actually it. Susanna, she describes the routines, the rules, and all sorts, her views and thoughts and emotions, as well as the peculiarities of a psychiatric ward. So we see it all through her eyes. We witness struggles with depression. Why isn't this word censored yet? Oh gosh. Self-harm, right? Addiction, and all sorts of disorders and destructive behaviors. And Susanna, she observes not just her fellow patients, but the doctors, the therapists, the nurses, and she questions their methods half the time, which is interesting. Now, through interactions and therapy, Susanna gradually begins to understand herself, the mental health system that she's in, right, and her relationships with others. So, whilst being this introspective kind of story, it is also this a bit broader look on how a real-life patient would see the system that they're put in. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But let me be clear, it might be not an easy read, not because of the disturbingness, not at all, because of it not being linear. Some people don't like that. I'm not one of those people per se, but just saying it focuses less on plot that it has, obviously, but still it focuses less on it. But focuses more on the atmosphere and the emotional states of our characters and her internal experience, which again is kind of a point if you think of it as a memoir. As for why is it on my disturbing books list? Well, because it is quite unfiltered and raw when it comes to descriptions of patients performing self-harm first and foremost, right? It's eerily true, realistic, I mean, and it makes sense, hence it being a memoir. All of the attempts to press the delete button, right? Everything is... it's written with such clinical detachment that makes them, again, eerily real, and I think it belongs on the list purely because of that. There's also this one side character, Lisa, who is manipulative because of her disorder, and she creates a lot of tension and adds to the plot, but she's actually a very sorry character with her antisocial personality disorder, and despite her doing questionable things, you're still sorry for her. Actually, I was sorry for everyone in this book. And the institutional environment, well, yeah, as someone who'd been in such environments as an apprentice, I wasn't institutionalized myself, thankfully, I believe. But sometimes looking at the world around us, I sometimes wish I was institutionalized. Nonetheless, a blurred line between sanity and insanity, we always like that, and when it's written down, it's always interesting to read. But make no mistake, it's not as if you're reading a diary of a mad person, not at all. It's just she is isolated and vulnerable, and it's more sad than disturbing in this regard, but despite her forming bonds with people, you can still feel her questioning things, and you can feel the isolation, and that's deep, man, and actually correlates with many accounts that I've personally encountered and studied, so it makes sense to me reading this one. It combines psychological realism and deep human vulnerability. Unlike a horror story, the horror here and the disturbing aspect in here is the fragile human mind and spirit sometimes. The cruelty of circumstances, the cruelty of systems, which we always love on this channel. And of course, the unpredictability of people, of human behavior, if that makes sense, which should be a normal thing, right? You cannot predict people, actually. You can, but let's be honest, you kind of cannot. It should be normal, but every time you are facing such situations or environments, especially such environments, it gets under your skin. It is disturbing. Especially if you're a control freak or you have any sort of the disorders that require you to be in control or in charge, starting with banal things such as nervousness. Nervous people, worrying people often need to be in control of situations. And when you know that you cannot have this control, you're slowly spiraling. You're out of it. Sometimes not even slowly. In some cases, it happens quickly. And it manifests half the time in various forms such as panic attacks, anxiety attacks, outbursts, and then people would say that you just flew off the handle. Why? Well, because it was building up in me, right? It's a very interesting, it's like a portway to discuss psychiatry and the subject of psychological health. So yeah, Girl Interrupted. I highly recommend you check this one out if what I described sounded interesting. Meanwhile, I would also like you to make sure that you've checked out my own book, Misanthropically Inclined, that is available on Amazon right now. This one has some hopefully interesting ideas. At least I was interested in putting them down on paper finally. So I highly recommend you check this one out. The links for the book will be in the description below, and thank you all so much for watching. If you like unorthodox content, please consider giving this video a boost in the form of an erect thumb, and make sure to subscribe for more. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones, ladies and gentlemen, and I shall see you all as soon as possible. Goodbye.